Plus, a big announcement from the Pope when it comes to same-sex civil unions. Hashtag most clicked. Here are the stories piquing everyone's interest right now. Pope Francis becoming the first pontiff to endorse same-sex civil unions. The remarks coming in the documentary that premiered at the Rome Film Festival, with the Pope saying homosexual people have the right to be in a family.
Welcome to Times and Signs Are Us. God bless you all. We're in the last days.
все, вся вода, она просто переполнена вот рыбой мертвой. И это вот везде полностью, абсолютно, по всей кромке. Просто вот ездишь элементарно. Сейчас уважаемым подписчикам нашим, жителям Калмыкии покажут этот момент.
Опять море. Мы с Верусиком поплыли.
разбирать завалы. east of Dallas on I-20 when the tornadoes started. You could see them on the radar. I had well-defined debris signatures. But when I got into Dallas, north side of Dallas, it hit really hard along 635 east when I first started seeing the damage. And then when I got off along the North Dallas area and some of the neighborhoods, it's extensive damage to homes. It's probably probably over 1,000 homes damaged, maybe 100 plus destroyed. It depends. It's hard to tell at night, and I saw a lot of it at night. But you were seeing some very well-built homes, even multi-million-dollar homes that were just, had roofs blown off, all the windows blown out, sidewalls collapsed, stuff that you don't normally see unless it's a strong tornado for well-built structures to get hit that hard.
Well, federal investigators are looking into messages sent to voters near Gainesville. Democratic voters in Alachua County are among those in the country who received messages threatening to come after them unless they vote for President Trump. The messages say they are from the far-right group called the Proud Boys. Questions are now being raised about the origin of these emails amid concerns about voter intimidation.
Right now, the host of Facing South Florida, Jim DeFede, is joining us. And Jim, what do we know about these emails?
So let's walk through it, just sort of go through a little bit. Let's show one of those emails that have been sent out. I think we can put that up on screen, and I'll read you a little portion of it. You will vote for Trump on Election Day, or we will come after you. The email says, we will know which candidate you voted for. I would take this seriously if I were you. Now, this type of threat is something that's taken care very seriously, obviously. What we know about this email is that it was sent to voters in at least 3 states, Florida and Alaska being 2 of them. Now, a CBS News analysis of this email, you're able to sort of determine where exactly the email may have originated from. So we know that the email came from servers in Saudi Arabia and Estonia. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that individuals in Saudi Arabia or Estonia sent the emails. It simply suggests that someone who was routing it to voters here in Florida and other states were being very sophisticated, trying to hide their trail. Now, as you said, this does purport to come from the Proud Boys, but even federal officials are wary of that. It may more be along the line of that Proud Boy folks were in the news recently, as we all know, and that people may just be latching on to that.
Well, Jim, you actually spoke with the head of the Proud Boys, and they say they have nothing to do with the emails. So what are authorities saying?
No, you're absolutely right. I spoke last night to Enrique Torrio, who is the international head of the Proud Boys. He not only denied that this is taking place, he hopes that whoever is responsible is sent to prison, and in a sort of a semi-humorous note, suggested that this was giving his group a bad reputation, even though it is classified as a hate group by some. Now, you're right. Federal authorities are issuing warnings as regards to this. The FBI issued a statement, and I also have a statement now from Homeland Security. I want to put that up on screen so you can see it. While we are looking into the emails, we can tell you this: your vote is secret. These emails are meant to intimidate and undermine American voters' confidence in our elections. Don't fall for sensational and unverified claims. And that seems to be really what's at root here, is more sowing discontent as opposed to direct voter intimidation. Whether or not a campaign like this, and I'll be honest,
CDC is now redefining its definition of close contact. Now, the CDC used to consider close contact being within 6 feet of an infected person for 15 consecutive minutes. But now the CDC says it's for a total of 15 minutes. So, for instance, if you were next to an infected person for 5 minutes, then later in the day you were with them again for 10 minutes, that would be considered close contact. The CDC changed the guidance after studying a case in Vermont of an infected prisoner who transmitted the virus to others, even though he was only with them for short periods of time.
Good evening. The President has instructed the intelligence and law enforcement communities to ensure that the 2020 elections are the safest and most secure in our nation's history. We take that mandate and responsibility seriously. There is nothing more sacred in our republic than the fundamental democratic principle of one person, one vote. It is our duty to ensure the sanctity of U.S. elections. That includes ensuring the security of voting systems. The intelligence community's role is to identify threats and to assess the intentions, capabilities, and actions of foreign adversaries. Our duty also includes empowering the American people to understand information, or perhaps more accurately, disinformation, that they are seeing, particularly on the internet, and make informed decisions for themselves. With that in mind, we would like to alert the public that we have identified that 2 foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific actions to influence public opinion relating to our elections. First, we have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy. To that end, we have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump. You may have seen some reporting on this in the last 24 hours, or you may have even been one of the recipients of those emails. Additionally, Iran is distributing other content to include a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots, even from overseas. This video and any claims about such allegedly fraudulent ballots are not true. These actions are desperate attempts by desperate adversaries. Even if the adversaries pursue further attempts to intimidate or attempt to undermine voter confidence, know that our election systems are resilient, and you can be confident your votes are secure. Although we have not seen the same actions from Russia, we are aware that they have obtained some voter information just as they did.
Breaking news just moments ago, the FBI announcing that Iran and Russia have obtained voter information, voter registration data from the United States, part of an effort to interfere with our upcoming election. Now, the investigators said that Iran sent out threatening emails with false information to confuse registered voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump.
Additionally, Iran is distributing other content to include a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots, even from overseas. This video and any claims about such allegedly fraudulent ballots are not true. These actions are desperate attempts by desperate adversaries.
Well, meanwhile, the FBI Director Christopher Wray says despite foreign efforts to interfere with the elections, quote, you should be confident that your vote counts. And he says if you do receive a threatening email, to ignore it. A top intel official says that the U.S. will, quote, impose cost and consequences on those involved. 11, half the inmates at San Quentin prison are getting out. Some will be transferred, others will be released altogether. KPIX5's Betty Yu reports it's all because of how the prison handled the pandemic. Betty?
The state appeals court in San Francisco said that those in charge of San Quentin prisoners acted with deliberate indifference to their health. Now they must reduce the population by 50%, either through release or transfer. The court's ruling comes from a lawsuit brought on by a 64-year-old inmate who, along with his cellmate, tested positive for COVID-19 in July. To date, there have been more than 2,200 confirmed cases among inmates and 28 inmate deaths. Nearly 300 staff members have also been infected, resulting in 1 death. The court called the outbreak the worst epidemiological disaster in California correctional history.
I think this is a very good day. This is a day of victory in terms of trying to fight this disease and helping people that don't really have a voice in the way that things are done.
UC Hastings law professor Hadar Aviram filed arguments supporting the inmates.
San Quentin is an antiquated, dilapidated facility that has no ventilation, no room for people, and when this all started, we're still overcrowded to the tune of about 108%.
The court's review said California's oldest prison has extraordinarily close living quarters and inadequate sanitation. It's recommending that inmates over 60 who have served at least 25 years of their sentence and are eligible for parole be considered to be released or transferred. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said it disagrees with the ruling. It told Bloomberg in a statement, "We have implemented response and mitigation efforts across the system. As of today, CDCR's COVID-19 cases are the lowest they have been since May." CDCR went on to say that there has only been one new reported case in nearly a month. It will have 15 days to file an appeal before this case becomes final. Outside San Quentin, Betty Yu, KPIX5.
And if you'd like to read the full appeals court order, we have posted a link to it.
Crossing planned for the 101 freeway between Agoura Hills and Calabasas would be the largest of its kind in the world. It's scheduled to break ground in 2021 with the goal of giving wildlife a way to get across the freeway safely while avoiding traffic. The crossing is planned to be 165 feet wide, rising 210 feet over 10 lanes of the 101 freeway at Liberty County Road. The National Wildlife Federation says once built, the surface will be landscaped to help it blend into the surrounding mountain habitat. According to previous reports, the project is going to cost around $87 million to build, and it is a public-private partnerships project. Katie Johnston for CBS LA.
And happening right now, Coloradans living in Grand County are being evacuated from their homes tonight, and you can see why. From that huge plume of smoke coming from the East Troublesome Fire. The flames crossed Highway 125 at Cabin Creek late today. And the evacuations are for people who live east of that highway, from Milepost 5 to Highway 40. These are new pictures we just got in from Copter 4. It is raging again.
I'm Ann McAvick at the Live News Desk with big news for the Catholic Church and society in general. Pope Francis has just endorsed same-sex unions for the very first time as Pope. The Pope's commentary coming while being interviewed for this documentary, Francesco, which premiered today at the Rome Film Festival. In it, the Pope delves into the issues he cares about most, including the environment, poverty, and the people most affected by discrimination. And he is quoted as saying, "Homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are children of God." He goes on to say, "Is what we have to have is a civil union law. That way they are legally covered."
Any issue that you see in this movie is specifically him caring about humanity without putting frame or label.
That was the movie's director. Now, while serving as Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Francis endorsed civil unions for gay couples as an alternative to same-sex marriages, but he had never come out publicly in favor of civil unions as Pope. Now, we just heard from the Jesuit priest who had been at the forefront of the gay rights movement in the church. The Reverend James Martin said the Pope's speaking positively about civil unions also sends a strong message to places where the church has opposed such laws. Now, the Pope did not directly address this issue when he appeared in public today, but we did notice a day after donning a face mask for the first time during a service, Pope Francis was back to his maskless old ways today, despite surging coronavirus infections across Europe. Of course, that is a side note. That does not diminish the gravitas of today's announcement over his views. In the meantime, a lot of conservatives are asking the Pope for clarification on his remarks. We'll let you know if we hear any of
those. Is no
those.
longer just something for holiday weekends in Tarrant County. It is now in effect every single day. As Jason Allen reports, prosecutors and police chiefs realized they could afford to do it year-round.
One way or another, Tarrant County drivers suspected of being under the influence are going to get a blood alcohol test when they get pulled over. If they refuse a breath test, law enforcement will get a warrant for a blood test, effective now year-round.
It is just seeking the truth. The gold standard is the blood draw.
The no refusal, no matter the time of the year policy was announced Wednesday by Tarrant County District Attorney Sharon Wilson, Sheriff Bill Wayborn, and backed by at least 20 local law enforcement agencies.
No refusal needed to be countywide all the time, not just on a few weekends a year.
It's not because drunk driving arrests are up, Wilson said. Crashes aren't either. State data shows the 1,534 DWI crashes here last year were largely flat compared to 5 years ago. But Wilson said the problem exists year-round, and agencies realized many of them were already getting warrants for blood tests as a standard practice.
So they had in their budgets already found a way to do that. So we're counting on them to be able to continue with that, and that's the promise today.
Bexar County has had a similar policy in place for several years now, and the Dallas County Sheriff's Office confirmed for us today it has as well. The majority of the cities here in Tarrant County are expected to participate, and it is in effect now. In Fort Worth, Jason Allen, CBS 11.